Hello y'all on YouTube, this is Rob with Rob's Nerdy Knives. Today we're going to do a skiff swap. I meant to do this on my Eutsler Dukling before, but I didn't have the skiffs in, so I got some in, so we're going to do that. Alright, I know they take the 1/4 inch, 1/16, 13 ball count. That's what was on the neutralizer, so let's start to take this guy apart. These are T15s right here, and then T8s, so that's what I've got to get. So I believe that's this right here, T15, and then we're going to do T8s right here. Typically, I do the inside where the clip is. All right. Why are you not releasing? I didn't put any Loctite on. Okay. So I guess I put the loose pivot on the outside this time. Okay. That's interesting. I must have swapped them out. That's right. You know what these are? These are T7s. And I thought I had a T7 over here. T7, here we are. To see how dirty they are, I usually get a cloth that's a little lighter. I don't think they got dirty. I cleaned them out last time. We did a little tuning on this thing. Took it apart to see exactly. Yeah, that's just all the oil. Didn't get dirty. Delring aren't bad. I'll tell you that. They're I think they're definitely better than the OEM ones that you typically get with Chinese-made production knives, right? I don't know where the USA manufacturers get theirs, if they get theirs overseas from maybe the same manufacturer. I don't know. If you didn't know, some of the USA-made knives aren't. All parts don't come from USA sometimes. Matter of fact, right now, I believe all titanium, unless it's super expensive titanium, is outsourced out of country. So if anybody's using USA titanium, that is significantly more expensive. And if you see them jack up the price because they're using USA titanium, it's a fair charge. I mean, don't dog them because titanium should never be that expensive. Well, I don't know. USA titanium is. I will just say that much. All right, so everything here still looks good. All right, so there's no washers on these guys. It's just a channel that feeds in. So last time we measured the pivot, the pivot is going to be in the channel where it fits. See, if you do the pivot is much smaller. The pivot is like, I think, 3/16 or something. And if you're curious about that, I'll just show you. This is where you don't always have to measure the pivot. So the pivot itself is, yeah, it's a 3/16 pivot, but the channel is actually 6 millimeter. So if you go in here where the channel fits, so you see where the hole is for the channel, that's a 6 millimeter, and that's what you want. You want this guy in there. So if you ordered the 3/16, you'd be wrong. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Hopefully that helps you out, so you don't order parts you may not be able to use or want. So, and how did I discover stuff like that? Because I did it wrong the first time. So let my mistakes be your learning help, your learning aid, if you will, right? I'll look at it that way. So I put a little oil in the channel here. If you hear a squeak in the background, it's my dog chewing on a toy that I may have to take away from him because he's just trying to make a bunch of noise while I am doing this video. I am going to put some 85 weight nano oil on the track of the detent ball. Well, this is actually a detent nub. It's like a ceramic detent nub. So I don't know if you can see that. Let me zoom in on that. So let's look at that. Can you see that? That's a detent nub. It's not necessarily a ball. You can see it reflect on the flat surface there. See it there, which is pretty cool. So a little oil there. Don't need a whole lot. Just want it on the track. Make it easy for it to travel. That's our stop pin right there. We want to make sure that's in. And put a little Loctite on there because I do want it to stay. I do have a new bottle of Loctite after a few years, so yay me. I have just enough Loctite in the threads. That's all I wanted. Try to get no oil in there. That's what I want. Control drop shut action. That's what I'm looking for. So making sure these are tight. In the center. Of course, with Loctite, you want to make sure it sits and dries. So then we're all done. I put my T7. I don't use the T7 a lot, so I don't keep it out. I keep it over here. T8s, T6, T10s are ones I use a lot. I don't use those. So, put my skiffs away. I have to get some more just to be able to do this one. I'm excited to be able to finish that up. 10 weight nano oil. That's what I use as nano oil. And if you're like, what is that? I can't see what that is. Well, if you're curious what this one is, I have a new bottle here. This is the 10 weight nano oil right here. Nano oil, 10 weight. That's what I use on the caged bearings and things like that. All right, I would typically use it on the caged bearings and thick washers. Then this is the 85 weight nano oil. And I have one of those over here. So again, nano oil, 85 weight. Okay. I use that on the detent ball and the detent track, a thicker, higher viscous sort of oil. And I find that to be the most beneficial for what I need, right? Definitely recommend those. So put this away. We're done with our maintenance stuff today. We'll clean off the mat a little bit here, and we'll take a little picture of these guys so you all know what I replaced. So you guys, in case somebody's curious, they have a duckling and they want to put skiffs in there. So there you go, and I'll zoom in just for you guys. It's a very easy thing to do. Just remember with ducklings, at least the version that I have, I don't know how new yours is, if yours is older, newer, if it's different, but this is, I don't think it's relatively old, but this one does have the frame lock. I know some of the newer ones have a liner lock, so that could be a little different, but typically from what I hear, he uses T7 body screws and a T15 pivot torque, okay? So make sure you have a T7 and a T15. That's what you're going to need to work on a Eutsler knife. And that was pretty consistent. That was also for my neutralizer. It uses the same size. All right, so what we're using here is the 1/4 pivot. Even though the pivot itself is a 1/16, you use 1/4 because of the channel where it fits, okay? So you need a 1/4 pivot. You need the 1/16 ball size, okay? You need a 13 ball count. That's what this currently, the current one that Steve Skiff has. And if you're curious, let's see how many are in the original one in the Dell ring. 1, 2, so 10. So you get 3 extra balls. So you definitely get some extra surface area, extra contact, extra structural integrity as far as the blade moving across the bearings. So it's going to be a little smoother. I find Steve Skiff's tolerances for his ceramic balls are better. Many times if you have what they call detent pivot lash, where technically it's where the balls aren't uniformly diameter and it starts to rock. And it usually happens over here. I found that addresses it. Sorry about the alarm. The doorbell there. Somebody may be walking up to the front door and I may have to step away for just a second. All right, so sorry about that. I find, again, going back to where I left off, hopefully I'll splice it together and this won't be a repeat, but Steve Skiff's, his ceramic balls tends to be more uniform. So I'll just go with that. The diameter is more consistent and that does fix a lot of times pivot lash. I've seen that happen in quite a few knives where you put in Skiffs and it fixes that. The other thing is a lot of times they'll fix centering issues. If you had centering issues before. Now, if you were off center and you really centered that knife, worked hard to get it centered with bad, maybe cage bearings and you put in Skiffs after that, then it may be off centered as a result of what you did originally, but it would have been centered with the Skiff set. I've seen that happen too. Just personal experience. And my experience over hundreds and hundreds, if not close to 1,000 knives now, it might have been over 1,000 knives. I honestly, between the knives that I've been given and given away, knives that I've given away as personal gifts, knives I've given away on the channel, I'm going to say I'm probably close to over 1,000 knives that I've handled, at least. I don't know if I could even take the time. It would take me a long time to figure out how many it is, but I know it's a lot. If it's not 1,000, I'm pretty darn close, but I'm pretty sure I'm over. So that being said, because there's a lot of knives I borrow, people loan to the channel, I review and I ship them back, and I never own them in my collection. So, and there's many variants of some of the same knives I've checked out. So there you go. All right. that being said, these are cage bearings, Skiffs. I do recommend those. The Delring aren't terrible. They are definitely, like I said, they're better than the OEM. I really do believe that. But they are still a budget cage bearing. They are not a premium bearing. The only ones that I think are going to be competitive and comparable to Skiffs, quite frankly, in my personal opinion, are there's two knives. There's two guys who make knives, maybe three, but right now I know of two. I'm going to test the third one. But the two that I know of for sure, they make their own custom knives. Shergorf makes their own knives. They make a very unique kind of a cage bearing version, and theirs are pretty phenomenal. And you can't swap Skiffs out for this one. And then you've got Herman. They make their own custom bearings, and those are pretty phenomenal as well. So those you can't swap out Skiffs. There's one that I swapped out Skiffs, but he makes his own, and I'm waiting for something to come in before I put him back. But I put Skiffs in this one right now, and that is the Hog House Model T Gen 2, which is really amazing. The Skiffs are fantastic in here, but his cage bearings actually have one extra ball than Steve's Skiff has. And I'm going to put those back and compare. I've had this for a while. I compared it with what's in the Skiffs, and I will be able to tell whether I'm going down, it's a downgrade or it's an equal, right? But supposedly Hog House makes them really, their knives are phenomenal. I mean, just there's no question. Their knives are just simply amazing. But I wonder if they're going to be in the same realm as the other ones. The issue that I'm going to have, and his ceramic balls may be phenomenal. The issue is that he uses Delrin cage, which is a resin composite. It's not a phosphor bronze composite. So, or phosphor bronze. Oh my gosh, what the heck you call it when you mix a couple of metals together? It's not a composite. That's a composite. That's a plastic, but it's a alloy. It's not a phosphor bronze like alloy like that, right? So this is a it's resin, and resin breaks down over time. Texas heat, lots of wear. I fidget with my knives, so I suspect that's going to be the downfall, right? It's not going to be his ceramic balls. I bet his ceramic balls are phenomenal. So, anyways, even in a Eutsler, as fantastic of a knife this is, and I really do like this, and I appreciate the person who told me about these knives. I am so happy that I have two of these in my collection now. So these are just phenomenal. You can see that action's already starting to get there. Now the problem is, as I'm flicking it, I might loosen that. I might loosen the pivot, and I got to stop doing that. So all right. Hey, if you found this content fun, interesting, worthwhile, or informative, would you please consider hitting the like button down below? And if you've already hit that like button, would you please consider hitting the subscribe button? Subscribing and liking the channel really helps out. Helps me to produce more content, do more things, ultimately do more things for you guys. So thank you. Thank you to everyone out there who watches the videos, who likes the videos, enjoys the content, is part of the live stream, who comments in the community. I appreciate you guys. Thank you. Thank you. If you haven't already hit that notification button down below as well, you can be notified of future content like this video. And a big shout out to all my channel members out there. You guys are amazing. You allow me to do things way sooner than I ever thought I'd be able to do. You also encourage me. Seriously, like a workout buddy. You encourage me sometimes because I don't do this full time. I'm part-time, right? I do this for fun, and it is fun. And with you members, you make it even more fun. You allow me to continue to have fun. It's very encouraging. So thank you. As a small way for me to say thank you to the channel members, I do something very exclusive for them because they've been generous to me. I want to be generous back to them. I do two things. One, I do a once a month members giveaway. It's usually a very exclusive, very nice knife. I make sure that's something that they can win, they can get into, and it's just for the members, but it is definitely something for them, and it's a small way for me to say thank you. The other thing is I do, if you're a brand new channel member, or you're a channel member all along, or you were a channel member and became a channel member again, as long as you're a channel member right now, and usually this is for new channel members, but it applies to anybody. If you're a channel member right now actively, you've never gotten a channel sticker, you never asked for a channel sticker, email me with your name and address. I'd love to mail you a sticker and a little note to say thank you for being a channel member. I do that for all channel members. All right, so that's the thing. You're asking, well, how do you become a channel member? Check the description down below. There's a link for it. I have 3 different tiers. Would love to have you. Don't ever feel obligated. Only do it if you want to. But if you do, thank you. Seriously, thank you. And then big shout out. Thank you to everyone who watches the videos, who watches the content, who's part of the whole thing. I appreciate you. If you haven't already, check me out on Instagram at robs_nerdy_knives. Again, that's on Instagram at robs_nerdy_knives. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day and a great week. Bye.